Let's see, Raymond, you there? Hello, hello. Awesome. Yo, hey everybody. Starting late here. Sorry for the minute delay. I had to get some water and more caffeine in order to jam here. But today we are going to learn Claude Code. Well, I'm going to learn. This isn't a how to learn session where I'll be walking through anything. We're going to look at how I use AI to self-teach myself on new technologies, and I'm going to spend a couple hours trying to create a agent with Claude Code that could make some code. So don't know how far we're going to get, but yeah, if you guys have any questions in the chat, I got Raymond here, who's one of our contributors to the open source project, and we'll be moderating the chat as well and letting me know if anything's going down. I also got ourselves some music today. This one's going to go to EG after 171. So we'll be playing a bit of background music while I code, as I usually do by myself. That's about it. So everyone enjoy. I would say where we're at right now is we have an empty project. There's nothing here. So let's get started.
I know how to make a carpet in our house.
That's awesome.
We need a crafting table, and then we need all the couplets on the crafting table, spider webs on the crafting table, all spider webs, and then hammer, and then it'll turn to a carpet.
Wow, so it's just like Minecraft?
Or a blanket, or you could use the carpet or the blanket.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, man, I'm gonna need some privacy for a couple hours. Could you close the door, please? And that there is how you lose flow in less than 1 minute. I personally don't have any experience with NodeMon. It's kind of funny. I created an example project in a folder called test. I should probably rename it. All right, well, let's see how this thing runs. Okay, so it's saying we already got a Claude agent running. We're using my key that I put in earlier. I guess it wasn't an empty repo. I did do a .env file. Which is pretty smart, right? Like it automatically knew about the .env config. Okay. Yeah, so it's just like a test message, testing the connection. There's a start command, so it goes. Yeah, I mean, it means everything is working, which is pretty cool. So I do want this to eventually be in Cloudflare Containers, which is why I'm multitasked the test container here. So we don't want Go. I love Go, the language, but I'm going to go ahead and move this entire project into that folder. I'm probably going to mess with the Docker container stuff later. Just focus on being in scope for the container source. Cool. It must be crazy thinking, wow, really, the first time using NodeMon, it looks like it's a pretty important service for developing stuff. All right, let's make sure it didn't break anything. Okay, everything's good. And so we have one agent, the actual Claude Code, which is accepting messages via a RESTful API and streaming the responses and the work. And two, we want to expose a npm run dev, as we are only coding TypeScript. So I want to express that as a user trying to vibe code, like the app, and they might not know, like, if they ask for something, it's actually quite complex and they're developing several different parts. So I kind of want to create a project manager. And I'm going to ask the AI how to help me with that. Because I heard like Claude Code could do this like really cool project management stuff. Well, not exactly project management, but having like an orchestrator of agents, which I would call a manager. Now I feel like I gotta correct myself. It's not exactly project manager because that's not what they do, but yeah. A manager of agents. So in some cases, the user will not be versed in engineering and to be smart enough. Because I'm thinking design-wise, like, we're going to need, like, an API to kind of create. Like, are you wanting to create a web app? Are you wanting to create an agent? But it would be better if the LLM just knows. Like, by talking with it, you know that they're creating an agent and then they're doing this. I definitely want to stay away from both web app and agents, but I don't know, like maybe a project needs a web app and an agent. It becomes like a full marketing site. I don't know. So I guess I don't want to be too restrictive on what the user wants to create, but I want to be very verbose, very restrictive, and kind of like giving exact ideas on how to create it. So this is a bit different than like what I was thinking, because I thought like the agents would just be sub-agent files. Of course, that's a more elegant approach. Okay. Yeah, this is looking a bit better. Okay. So the next question I would ask is like, I would like so I'm like really thinking about like how do we want to break down this sub agent team to be able to do different things, and I kind of want it to be like very like expert driven. Like there's an expert for D1 databases, there's an expert for caching, there's an expert for all this stuff, and I'm thinking there's like an architect role that is the one that sets up the project and kind of knows where to delegate, which let's just find out. We want to have an architect role, which is the core system prompt top process. I assume this is the agent MD, or is there a default for Claude? Do we handle that? Yeah, I think that would be good. Regarding project templates, every project can be bootstrapped via a CLI command, so we don't need a folder for that. Okay, so I think we want to start with the sub agent, and I think we want to start with web apps because web apps are like very basic and not using our like framework right this second. So it'd be good just to like do something that's a little more open and on the internet, in terms of just a quick test versus just a hello world, which would just be a little too basic for me. So, okay. So let's start with the base agent. Be able to send messages to it via Claude Code as per your description. Let's give it context only for creating open next Cloudflare apps. Now I like to be, as you might have saw earlier, I was looking at the template for creating containers. I like to get the exact command line that's in the docs. And I don't think Claude's gonna get this. At least it's not as accurate. So this is probably going to take some time. I'm going to do some multitasking as this goes in. Pull over. Actually, I already kind of have a screen here. Let's just go. Wow, that was really quick if it's already done. So what's pretty cool is I should be able to actually test this with Claude Code as well. I think that would be the fastest way to debug this. There we go, it's called Claude. You know what, I'm just gonna stick it in and ensure that we just test it through code. So I think we need like a workspace template. Which we use for like generating the workspace. That's where the Claude stuff goes. And then Claude goes there. It looks like it's saying the dock should like go to the top, but I think we can look at that a bit later. Template folder. Again, I could use Claude CLI to test this, but I do want to just be running through the same environment that Claude Code TypeScript SDK gives. I did not like that code, so I just accepted it anyways. What's up? Yeah, what's up? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. There we go. Should be better in a minute. Cool. All right, let's do this. I'm PMPLCLI. Okay. I love how fast this stuff is, man. It blows my mind every time. I code. Can you create a web app which shows a full, large, animated text? Raymond, we love you. With the best effects you can think of. Thinking we should default to Sonnet 4 though. So it's like coding, like it's showing all the code. It's like doing stuff. Would you like me to enhance? Would you like me to enhance any particular? Okay. Are you able to? Yeah, seems to be going in kind of a loop. So what I'm gonna do is just share all of it to the. So it's actually creating some workspace tools. It feels like these tools would be out of the box. Yeah, it looks like it ripped out Claude Code on the last run because it thought we wanted to use just the regular SDK. We're almost rebuilding the entire SDK itself. Of course, a lot more work to do, but yeah. So it did try creating something, but it had an issue. And I realized that the open next, like running the command to like setting up an open next project might not be the right way. So I think the template idea might actually be best. Oops, I accidentally canceled it. Let's see though what this configuration settings is. Raymond Love app. I am curious what tools there are. Like, so it's almost like it has a bunch of tools built in somewhere. Just don't know. I guess while this is building, we could go to the workspace. So yeah, it's just still coding everything. Oh my gosh, believe it or not, it worked. Forever and always, Raymond, just for you. Look at that. Yeah, I know, right? I saw that it's running the dev server. Yeah, now it's like approaching turn limit. Oops. Claude should summarize progress soon. That's cool. Oh, sorry, say it again. Yeah, exactly. So it's using the Claude Code agent MD here, and it was able to know about the template project that that I had, and then I kind of created this mock workspace, this workspace template, so that it's just working kind of like in this fake workspace, and it created the Raymond Love app, and yeah, did everything here. Pretty cool. It was a bit faster than I thought, which is good. It did even run the dev server, right, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. It costed, and it even shows you the cost at the end here. It costed $1.44. Yeah. That says right here at the bottom. Oops, I zoomed in a bit too far. Yeah, bottom left right here. $1.44. Pretty cool. Yeah, that's what I love about Claude Code is they summarize the cost at the end, which are pretty nice. You know what's crazy about that? That was in Claude 3.5, not Claude 4. Yeah, because the initial first question I think was included in the turns, but you'll see here on turn 40 out of 50 is there. So it might be a bug in turns used, but I think it's because of the previous turns that I asked for in order to get this done, like the first session. It's equivalent to steps. Yeah, so just like all the other AI LLMs or the AI SDK, it's the equivalent to steps. So one thing I want to do is I want to make sure that it's like not running. Like one of the most annoying things is when you get like multiple dev servers running. So I want to like clean that up. It's not going to run a dev server. It's just like we have the dev server always running. And then B, I think we then want to try to make an MCP next. I can teach you how to do the MCP template. Let's actually go back to the markdown file. So we're clarifying some stuff. Cool, that's what I was thinking. Because what I want to do is I want to try to create a sub agent for the MCP protocol, but then I also want to like have another sub agent like that's an expert in like D1 databases. So then the goal would be that like this agent is like saying, okay, well, we need a database, we need some migrations, we need the MCP framework, and it like tasks those two things to go run in parallel. That's the hope. based off of Claude subagents. So we will see once we get there. But that's definitely where we want to land. Look at this. Look at this old model. We're on Claude 4. And it's like using 3.5 Sun at latest available. Claude 4 isn't available yet. Oh my goodness. Oh, dude. Claude. You should know that you exist. Okay. That's why I use Perplexity. I think my music just switched over. It's going to get dirty. Don't want to do that. Let's hop over to... We'll do a little bit of Lumi. There's, of course, you could just tell Claude 4 to Google it. It updated the date and it did not update the number. That's pretty sad. I'm gonna manually do it. Yeah, I know, that's crazy. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. I think the template now has I think it has the default hello world time. Yeah, so it currently has the get time. So what would be like a simple, I guess, add function? Yeah, simple math. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm hoping it creates tests automatically for this. So it actually is showing the tools now. It's actually it has its own internal to-do list tools. That's kind of cool. But it doesn't say anything about to do, so it's kind of like built in. Yeah, let's see how it's doing. Yeah, it looks like it's coding it. See, it just popped this up automatically. Wow, look at that. 5 plus 2. Wow. That was quick. Very quick. And it's using our format. Okay, well, that's doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering. So it created everything successfully. It's running the inspector, it's running the development server. I knew about it when I ran it. It's pretty cool. We kind of want to be able to run these services by default though. I guess like the question is it always one project per container? Which I would say yes. But that also means that every single app that gets created needs its own thing. Yeah, that's a bit of an interesting design. Okay, so yes, to do right is a built-in tool. Let's see if we're actually using it. Yeah, to do right. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. So yeah, I'm trying to think how I want to spend the rest of my 45 minutes because I got it all working kind of the way that I wanted to. I guess I could put it in a container. I could put it in a container, but I'm just kind of worried, like if I have it in a container, I have it running in the cloud, the container's running the dev of the app right away, which means that the container needs to generate the container kind of needs to generate its own project by default. And then after it generates its project by default, when it starts up, then we could start calling it. Yeah, I think wrapping it up would be good. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering what's the best way, so I guess I should just chat with the AI about this. I actually think maybe the agent should decide when to create projects, and it will create its own environments dynamically by calling something. Because I've been kind of thinking, like, are agents going to actually have custom code, or is it just going to be a bunch of MCPs that are hooked up to a standard agent that's just configured to have agent, like, just code and or tools? And that's been boggling my mind because of the security issue of, like, when an MCP tool needs access to a third party and where do you store it. If every MCP is running in its own sandbox, I think it'll be fine. So I almost think that we don't even want to create custom agents. Something to think about. I also should probably test it in doing something a bit more advanced as well. But I think I'll do that for another day. Just get the basis going. It's an agent. And we might actually have an LLM layer in front of it. Yeah, it is getting a bit complex. Another way of doing it is to create containers, or would it be better that we just treat one project with a bunch of sub-projects via the packages project name? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the Cloudflare code. Kind of curious what it looks like. So we're listening to port 8080 for the container. This is us calling the container. I'm gonna have to read some docs. I'm guessing that you could just like talk to it via HTTP. Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be HTTP. Yeah, this is not helping. All right, let's see what you thought of. I don't know if we can specify 2 ports. That would be an issue. Yeah, I think we need to start off by finding out if we could do multiple ports. I think that's step 1. Because if we want to expose multiple services, I need to be able to do that. Yep. It's just such a new thing that, like, I think we're just gonna get lucky if it actually works. And it will help us with their design to know if we can do it or not. So let's just do a simple example. See what it comes up with. So if it's a single port, then it makes sense to make a per app setup. And if it's a per app setup, that's gonna be a little annoying. because you essentially need the chat to both of them separately. But it should be okay. Okay. But then at the same time, we need to be able to communicate to the agent on one port, and then we need to be able to communicate to the expose the app on another port. So it's two apps. I guess we can look and see if there's a proxy. Proxy could work. Yeah, we could treat it as a proxy. Pretty sure it's possible. So essentially our Claude CLI or Claude agent is now becoming a proxy to whatever it actually creates, which makes a lot more sense. And I'm going to need to design this even further because now it's going to be quite dynamic. Assign Claude Code agent to So there is this concept called message streaming. Where is it? I did it here. Tools, streaming with input. Yeah, so streaming input. And a sync iterable instead of a single string. This is interesting. So it's like some very unique yielding messaging tool. Yeah, I don't even know. Well, yeah, let's just use session management on the Claude Code layer. The question is if the session is going to be remote or not. Doesn't say much in the docs. Dynamic routing. Yes, simple HTTP proxy. Thing about HTTP proxy forwarding is that we might actually build full stack apps at some point. So if we go into full stack app land, it's gonna be quite interesting. Which again just brings us back to like kind of needing a dedicated container for everything. But let's just go for it. I actually think we're gonna need a dedicated container. The more and more I think about it, the more it's becoming an issue. So, which means, could Claude Code work without dedicated? Yeah, I guess it would need tools to be able to create like different projects and stuff, so I think it's fine for now. So let's just read the other questions. Multiple containers. Actually, with full stack apps, Wrangler does do a great job discovering everything itself. The problem though is still just the WebSocket, being able to connect to it. Okay. Let's see if like maybe while this generates, we can just run another quick test. The docs don't include any of the Cloudflare stuff at the moment. Making a new app. Let's see though. It didn't ask me like any questions or anything about how is it gonna get the free data. Probably need to like go from like a planner mode to CoinGecko API. Cool. But like probably need like a planner mode and then a builder mode. So then like it knows when to go build versus just like, hey, can you just give me some answers? Would be good. coming up on time. I think what I'll do is I'll pause after we get our BTC app running. Because, yeah, but developing the container system and doing this more kind of like heading towards like more system architecture and how I want to see this all come together. It's going to take some time. But definitely happy to stream more development next week. If people are interested, just reach out. But we'll see how our crypto project turns out to be in a moment. Cool that CoinGecko is known for free APIs for crypto. Serving the internet. Okay, it says it completed, costed $1. Let's see. It's currently not running. So let's see, container source. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Current price, 110,000. $110,000. Cool. Let's look at the network. So we were able to generate this. It is a Next.js app, so I guess I won't be seeing where the API is coming from, but it's the free tier, 30 calls a minute limit. Huh? Cool. I mean, that was pretty cool for one shot. Yeah, cool, man. Any questions? You know, as you've been observing, did anything not make sense as I was coding, or you want to dive into anything before we close this off? And an MCP, right? That was pretty crazy. Trying to find my music so I can turn it off. But yeah, I mean, that was cool how the CLI tool popped up the MCP and tested the math pretty instantly and used our template to do that. So if we actually look at the math MCP, it overrode your. I know that you just put in the example recently for for time, right? And it just deleted it and then added everything in here, but it kept the rest of the structure of the template, the same. Like it didn't rename example MPC server or did anything crazy, because it kind of like it would have need to change like a bunch more files, like the Wrangler file and all kinds of other stuff to get it done. So it worked out of the box pretty quickly. The basic web app was like made sense. I was pretty impressed though by the BTC app, like which costed 30 cents, 20 cents less than your I Love You app to get a real-time Bitcoin price app. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Cool, guys. Well, anyways, everyone have a good one. Let me know if you'd like to see anything more. Definitely go to nullshot.ai to check out some more information about what we're building. Right now, this demo was really not a demo, but like me working on a feature for Nullshot is going to enable people to vibe code everything that's currently on Nullshot. So that's what's really cool about this. And yeah, hopefully it'll be done in a few weeks. So for now, we're just going to jam and keep going. And I'm going to go work on some other stuff in a moment after I get this AI to document our plan for tomorrow. And yeah, feel free to reach out on Twitter and let me know what else you'd like to see. But until next time, and thanks for hanging out, Raymond.